I'm sure that you've heard of Lawrence of Arabia, whether from the epic 1962 movie or from history books. T.E. Lawrence was a dashing British officer who helped lead the Arab Revolt against the Ottoman Empire during the First World War, and he was hailed as a hero by the Arabs. But what if I told you that despite all of his efforts, the British actually had no real intention of honouring their promises to the Arabs? Today we're diving into the story of how T.E. Lawrence was used, abused, and ultimately betrayed by the very empire he served. T.E. Lawrence was not your typical British officer of the time. He wasn't a career soldier or an aristocrat playing at war. He came from a decent middle-class background and worked his way into Oxford University, where he studied history and became fascinated with the Middle East. Before the war broke out, Lawrence worked on archaeological digs in Syria and spent years studying the Middle East and the society within. His deep knowledge for the region caught the attention of the British intelligence, and when the war broke out, Lawrence was recruited to work for the military, where he would map out the Sinai Peninsula. From there, Lawrence was assigned as an intelligence officer in Cairo, where he quickly proved invaluable due to his expertise on Arab culture and tribal politics of the time. Lawrence spent years living amongst the people, immersing himself in their history and their culture. He spoke fluent Arabic and built relationships with key Arab leaders. Now, this deep connection with the land and its people gave him a perspective that was rare amongst British officers, who often just saw the Middle East as an area on the chessboard of empire. By 1916, the British were struggling in the Middle East. The Ottoman Empire was still a formidable force, and Britain needed allies in the region to weaken their grip. Lawrence needed to play a more significant role in the Middle East due to his ability to forge alliances with Arab leaders. Using Lawrence as a mediator, the British government formed an alliance with the Arabs who were living under Ottoman rule. The British would supply the Arabs with weapons, money, and military advisors in exchange for the Arabs revolting against the Ottomans. Now, the Arabs would gain their freedom and Britain would destabilize Ottoman control in the region. So it seemed like a no-brainer to the Arabs. After all, everyone would benefit. Except the Turks, but screw them. Prince Faisal agreed, trusting Lawrence's word. Lawrence fully believed in the cause. He threw himself into the action, fighting bravely alongside Prince Faisal. Lawrence led guerrilla campaigns against the Ottomans, blowing up railways, leading attacks on key outposts. At one point, Lawrence was even captured and tortured by the Ottomans, but he managed to escape somehow. Seriously, we really don't know how he escaped. He just did. Right, so far so good. I mean, the Arabs are dominating, the Ottomans are weakening, and the British are loving it. So now comes the moment when the Middle East gets to live peacefully and independently. But here's the problem. See, Britain already made other plans. Plans that did not include an independent Arab state. In 1916, while Lawrence was in the desert with sand in places that sand should not be, fighting for Arab freedom, the British and French were secretly signing the Sykes-Picot Agreement, dividing the Middle East between themselves. This agreement completely contradicted everything that the Arabs had been promised. So, whilst Lawrence was telling his Arab allies that independence was coming, his own government was dividing up the region amongst themselves like cake at a wedding. Britain would get control over modern-day Jordan, Iraq and Palestine, while the French would get Syria and Lebanon. The Arabs, well, they were left with broken promises. The ultimate betrayal came in 1919 at the Paris Peace Conference. Prince Faisal, with Lawrence at his side, went to plea for Arab independence. The British and French rejected the prince, and it became apparent that they never had any intention whatsoever of keeping their word. Before the war, the Middle East was largely under Ottoman rule. Afterward, it looked like this. The Arabs who had fought for their independence got nothing. Disillusioned and heartbroken, Lawrence faded from public life. He refused titles and lived in relative obscurity. He even changed his name to T.E. Shaw and enlisted in the Royal Air Force under the new fake identity. Even then, he struggled to stay hidden, as fame constantly caught up with him. He later lived in rural isolation, writing and working on military mechanics, seemingly wanting nothing to do with the empire that he had once served. So, did the British betray Lawrence of Arabia? Well, absolutely. They used him as a tool to gain Arab support in the war, then discarded his promises as soon as it was convenient. What do you think? Was Lawrence just naive? Or was he a true hero who got played by the empire he served? Let me know in the comment section, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe for more random history videos. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.